It's your boy Big Mikey Rose, back again once again with another video classic. And today, this video is gonna be pretty much about what I feel like the top 5 players who have to perform well in the playoffs, or I feel like it's time for them to go. So my top 5 players who must perform well in the playoffs. At number 5, I feel like Jimmy Butler needs to. Okay, now let's first start off. Okay, Chicago is not a good team. Okay, like they are bad in so many ways imaginable, and to me, I feel like them being in the playoffs don't serve a purpose. You know, like so many teams. Sometimes I feel like why, when you look at drafts coming up and you look at talent and draft class, like for us now to be able to see LaMelo, Jalen Hands, Michael Porter, Zion, for us to see all these guys, Colin Sexton, I don't want to leave nobody out, Trayvon Duval, but for us to see all these kids in high school ball out, you have to know, like, okay, we have, 2 years, these players will be available and we need this guy. Like, that's how you should be building through the draft. Like, if you think you need a center or a power forward or something and you have a young team, and like, especially in the NBA today where a lot of stars is not trying to come to your team just to be the leader of boys. You know, they want to win. So, for me, Chicago really, why are y'all in the playoffs? But since they are in the playoffs, I feel like this is the perfect opportunity, which is why I made Jimmy Butler number 5 to audition himself for a playoff caliber team. This, I feel like, is just to show a team like Utah or a team like Denver or, Detroit, like teams that's on the bubble who needs like that one more guy that can go out there and get them a bucket. And that's who Jimmy G Buckets is. Jimmy Butler, that's who he is. He go get you a bucket. And I think, his playoff performance this year, it don't matter what seed, but as long as he gives you a good performance and he proves to be clutch and he can go back at, LeBron James if he plays them, or go back at John Wall and Beal if he play them, or if he can attack Boston in that way that, he needs to attack, I feel like he can definitely serve his purpose in the offseason and as trade value because, come on now, like, what's the use of being a great player on a bad team? My number 4, I feel like DeMarcus Cousins. Now, we all know DeMarcus Cousins just got traded to New Orleans and that whole drama fest, like Rachel Nichols like to call it on the jump, as the Kings turn, poor management, horrible. They felt like Buddy Hield is going to be the next Steph Curry, which, I mean, you should not want to be like Steph Curry. You should want to be better. But, Steph Curry didn't come in the game saying, I want to be like, Steph Curry is who he is. Like, what did Steph Curry say? I want to come in the game being like Ray Allen, and he comes up to be a better three-point shooter, possibly a better player than Ray Allen. How many MVPs Ray Allen got? Unanimous. But I'm off that. But DeMarcus Cousins, like the whole experiment, like you had enough time to make the playoffs. They was 4 games back from the AC, and they didn't make the playoffs. It seemed like every time DeMarcus Cousins didn't play, Anthony Davis would have a great game and they'll win. So I understand they do need to reconstruct that roster a little better. But, you know what I'm saying, for me, I feel like DeMarcus Cousins, even though he's not going to the playoffs, and I know that's what I said this video is about, I had to put his name in there just for a minute because I feel like his play down this rest of the season and just the aura and atmosphere that he brings is huge for any team, and players in general, because think about it. If DeMarcus Cousins is going to cause all this trouble off the field, like, do you really want to be his teammate? But my real number 4 is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I feel like Giannis Antetokounmpo is a great young player because Giannis can do it all. He like a LeBron type, and truthfully, like 7 foot, so he will really be like a center. But because of his body frame, we want to call him a small forward, point forward, however we want to call him, whatever. But I think it's pivotal for Giannis to make noise because I feel like Milwaukee can get to the second round. They can upset somebody in the playoffs. They're a 5 seed right now. They'll play a 4 seed, which will probably be Washington or Toronto. Even though I do give Washington or Toronto the edge, I think Giannis, they can do it. Especially if they get Jabari Parker back. I just like the upside, and I think in this year's playoffs, Giannis Antetokounmpo and them is going to put the league on notice that next year they're coming. So that's why I make them number 4. Number 3. I feel like Paul George, like, the Pacers are extremely, 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 extremely underachieving this year. Like, it's fucking ridiculous what they're doing. Like, they're playing horrible. I can't believe it. But I do love Paul George as a player. I do love, with the pieces on the team. I just don't understand why it's not working. What players they giving minutes to that they need to take and let somebody else play. Because a lot of times that's what it is. It's not that you need to trade. It's that you need to focus more so on letting this player develop, like Miles Turner. Like, I understand Al Jefferson is the veteran, and I would think about Al Jefferson at a power forward position. But Miles Turner, he needs to have as many shot attempts as a Paul George and Jeff Teague. You are like Tony Parker. Like, 14-7 is okay. That's all you do. You control the pace. That's Jeff Teague's responsibility, to control the pace. And I just think he's not doing a good job of that. But like I say again, Paul George, let's see how the fight that Paul George puts up. And that's why I make him number 3, because if Paul George can upset anybody, I feel like if anybody can really pull off an upset in the Eastern Conference, it's Paul George. And I feel like if he really puts in that effort to make the playoffs and to fight, if they play Cleveland, fight, win 2 games. Boston, take them to a 7. Toronto, Washington, like, talent-wise, they can match up with any of those teams. Maybe not Cleveland, but we just seen the overtime game. So, I think that's great for confidence. But I just want to see his body language in the playoffs. So that's why I make him number 3. Number 2, Kawhi Leonard. Now, everybody loves the Spurs, and I am not a Spurs fan. I don't believe in the hype. But I do understand Popovich is possibly the greatest coach in the NBA history, period, point blank. 20 years, winning 50. Greatest power forward of all time was Tim Duncan, who was not athletic. And for him to be able to win 5 chips and just to be the beast that Tim Duncan was, and Pop is a beast in himself. Like, you have to pay homage to Pop as well. So I'm just really, I just want to see Kawhi Leonard take this team on his back, because if anybody else who can upset, just like Paul George on the Eastern Conference, it's Kawhi Leonard. And although it's not technically an upset because they're in the number 2 seed, but when you talk about playing Golden State, now I understand that that's a juggernaut. Like, you got Clay bombing at you, Steph bombing at you, KD bombing at you. You know what I'm saying? You got all these players bombing at you, and you just got Kawhi. Like, that is something to worry about. But I want to see. People talking about Kawhi Leonard and Kobe, so I want to see. Kawhi Leonard, that's why you're number 2 on my list, because I want to see you take your game to the next level and prove to me that the Spurs wasn't just 20 years of Popovich and Tim Duncan. That's what I believe. I think this Spurs team is a joke. Like, they're going to win games because Pop, and they're going to be competitive, and they're going to play their hearts out. And I like Kawhi Leonard as a person because I think he is savage. But, I feel like that team was success those 20 years, and everything that we know of the Spurs, that success is predicated on Tim Duncan. And he's not there no more. So, show me. And number 1 on my list. I'm off that. But number 1, it's a very hard decision, because number 1, you can really put it in a lot of different directions. But I'm not going to pick LeBron James, because LeBron James has proven himself. Like, why do I have to say anything about LeBron? Kyrie Irving, I don't have to say anything about Kyrie Irving because he's proven himself. Isaiah Thomas, like, I don't really have to say nothing about Isaiah Thomas because, he's proven himself in the 4th quarter. But I don't expect a 5'9" Isaiah Thomas to lift his team over the hump without one more player. Like, Isaiah Thomas is clutch, and if they had Paul George or Jimmy Butler, that would be the reason. I would then say he would be my number 1 player, because as long as he produces, we know what Paul George or somebody else like that would give you. Blake Griffin, we know what they would give you. I don't want to say the Clippers, because the Clippers as a team and organization is going to choke. I'm not going to say Russell Westbrook or James Harden, because their role ends when they play a Goliath. It's not nothing that we can expect more of from Russell Westbrook against the Warriors, or the Clippers, or James Harden against the Spurs. Like they not gonna beat them. Now the Clippers could beat the Spurs, but you know, the Clippers are the team who they like the Pacers. Like, they got all the talent that could, predicate into a championship winning team because they got it all. But I just don't think that they have nobody. They don't have nobody on their team that tasted the finals. They don't have nobody that's currently on their team that's leading them that had licked the finals and lost and know how that feel. So for me, I don't see them doing that. So my number one must show up or must perform in these playoffs to prove themselves to me, the number one player that I'm saying is the nigga who I feel like is my best favorite player. The nigga who was the 2-time unanimous MVP. That nigga who 400 threes last year, 50, 40, 90. That guy that everybody hates, Okay, now I'm hating you right now, bro. I'm hating you right now because although I don't believe you choked in the finals because you averaged 20 as, what they say as a shooter, to average just 20 points is still great. 6 rebounds and some assists, that's still great. Because if you talk about Kyle Korver numbers in the final or any just shooter in the finals number, Steph Curry is the best a nigga who just stand in the corner and shoot. So Steph Curry is the best at that, if that's what you want to call him that. But my thing is, we see what Steph Curry is doing now. He's doing this MVP, 2-time unanimous shit. He doing this shit again. I swear to fucking God, Steph. These playoffs better be Steph Curry. Like, we better remember 2017 for being Steph Curry playoffs. Or I swear to God, bro, I'm a Cavalier fan because, I cannot withstand defending this man who I feel like, to me, is the best point guard in the game today. Because, come on now, we talk about chips. Like, Kyrie is not better than Steph Curry, in my opinion, because Kyrie, although has a great layup package and dribble package, Kyrie is not leading no team nowhere. We talked about this already. 4-19, and before Kyrie, got LeBron and Kevin Love, what did they get? They got a number 1 pick in Andrew Wiggins the year before they got to the finals in 14-15, and they got motherfucking Tristan Thompson and Anthony Bennett. You got Deion Waiters, nigga. I remember them draft picks. So Kyrie Irving, baby, you wasn't doing none of that. So Steph Curry, I understand Westbrook triple-double king. You should just call him Triple Russell from now on. I don't understand why y'all trying to beat around Mr. Triple Russell. That's his name. And I can get on the video, too, about why I feel like Oscar and Russell are two niggas who was meant to be triple-double people. Like Oscar Robertson, Russell Westbrook. Like, these are two old school American ass names, and these are the only two, a Oscar and a Russell. Like, come on now. I know y'all see the similarities and where I'm going with this, but at the same time, Steph Curry, you are the person, number one. You are the nigga who is supposed to win the championship with Kevin Durant. I'm not even putting on Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant bandwagon. So Kevin Durant wants to just average 20 points, play some defense, and win a chip. So he's talking about Steph Curry. He feel the same way I do. Steph Curry, the best shooter in the game. I know I'm twisting up the camera, but I'm talking to Steph Curry. Nigga, I need 30 points against the Cavs. Fuck them niggas. They can't check you. You a sniper from all over the floor. You could dribble as good as Kyrie. How can he do that and you can't? That's why you number one on this list. So, like I say, everybody, that's it for this video. My top 5, like I say, you got Jimmy Butler, you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, you got Paul George, you got Kawhi Leonard, and you got Steph Curry. Those 5 players, to me, have to show up in these playoffs. Like, I need to see them. Their names need to be highlights in this playoffs. That's who all we need to be talking about. Because you know what LeBron going to do. LeBron is an all-time great. You talking about number 2 all-time in history. Like, I'm a LeBron hater, and I think you can give him that. But at the end of the day, the Cavs don't have no rough patch, so that's why a Cavs player is not up there. John Wall, I love John Wall. I feel like John Wall is the second best player in the Eastern Conference, behind LeBron, the man himself. But they don't have enough, so I'm not putting no expectations on them. I'm happy that they're in the playoffs. Toronto, I could have put Kyle Lowry and the DeRozan in there too, but they not beating the Cavs. Like, let's be honest. That's why I don't really have too many Eastern Conference. That's why I picked Giannis and Jimmy Butler, because I feel like Jimmy Butler has the potential to actually leave Chicago, and Giannis, I feel like they have the potential to actually ascend into the ranks of the hierarchy in the Eastern Conference next year. And Paul George, also same situation with Jimmy Butler. But Kawhi and Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, you got to show me that you second best player. Charles Barkley, Shaq, all your niggas talking about Kawhi is the second best player in the game. Okay, he need to show up this year or he's not. And Steph Curry, you too, because two-time unanimous MVP. We know you can shoot threes. What do you want to be, bro? Do you want to be just the best shooter ever, or do you want to be a choke artist? And I don't want you to be a choke artist, bro. I love you, bro. I'm from Detroit, and I should be rooting for the Pistons, even though they ain't doing nothing. Yes. Come on, baby.